Welcome to Drip Drop. I want to talk today. I'm Jane White, by the way. I want to talk today about approaching retirement and what that means for people like me. Maybe you're approaching retirement too, and you're thinking, what am I going to do? How's this going to go? There are plenty of videos that talk about approaching retirement from the perspective of, do I have enough money? All of that. I don't want to talk about that today. What I want to talk about is, as I'm approaching retirement personally, like what's that like? Well, first of all, I work full time. I work for Miracle-Ear. I'm a recruiter. I really like it. I like what I get to do. I am noticing, though, that as I'm 64, my husband's 66, everyone asks us all the time, everywhere we go, so when are you planning to retire? We hadn't really been thinking about it so much because we're just working and enjoying life, both like our jobs. But as time goes on and people keep saying it, we started thinking, what are we doing? How are we going to do this? I think my husband's number one question, he wakes up in the morning and goes, what am I going to do in my retirement? It's not about whether or not we have enough money. We can figure that piece out. We've done the math and we have enough money to retire. Question is, what are we going to do? We're both business professionals. I do sales too. We've been like this for years. I certainly don't want to sit around, but I understand what it's like because every part of your body's hurting now. As you're aging, and I'm sure other people can relate and say this too, it's like, oh, now I have the CPAP machine. I have the doctor's appointment. My teeth aren't as good as they used to be. My body's stiffening up. It feels like I'm getting arthritic. I can't do the things I was doing. I get out of breath faster. And so a little piece of me is like, maybe I'm aging and it's getting toward time. Everything I do is to stay active. I really think when you're resting, you're rusting. And so I don't sit in a chair a long time without hopping out and doing stuff and staying really busy. And I plan to do that in whatever I do. However, I've had some health things where traveling is probably not in the cards for me. I can't fly. And so that means you've got to drive everywhere. How much of that do I want to do? I don't know. But the real question to me is, what am I going to do in my retirement that gives me purpose, meaning and purpose? Those to me are more important than anything because I know if I ran out of money, for example, my kids would take care of me. I'm not too worried about that. What I'm worried about is having meaning and purpose when I do retire so that I'm not feeling like I'm alone or miserable or there's nothing to do. So for myself, this has been a big concern. And I want to just mention what I'm doing about this. First of all, I'm Catholic. My church is really important, my participation in my church. So I'm part of a Catholic Mothers Ministry. And that takes up a lot of my time, and I love doing that. That's very meaningful. And I'm going to keep doing that for sure. I've got my little Catholic bracelet on while I'm talking right now. But you might notice I have paint all over my hands. And that's what I'm going to talk about, is what I've decided to do in my retirement. So it started with my granddaughters, Olivia and Margot. I went to their house, and they're 12 hours away, so we drove there. And I always like to bring something to do with them. Maybe it's going to be musical instruments, something different, puzzles, dominoes. I like to come up with things we can do that are different and they can learn to do something new. Harmonica. But this particular trip, I went maybe 8 or 9 months ago. I decided we're going to try painting like we see on YouTube. I'm sure you've seen this, where people put out the canvas and then they pour the paint and then it makes something beautiful. And so we watched a video. We went to Michael's. We bought all the paint. And then we came back and we tried to bake it. And we all had a big laugh because it was nothing like what we saw on the video. So we went back and watched the video, and then we went back downstairs to paint, and it was even more awful. By the time I left after a week, I had watched probably 100 videos, and I had painted items all over their floor. I had gotten tiles from the Lowe's and tried those, and canvases from the Michaels and tried those, and I had made a giant mess of their house too. But at the end of it, and I had a great time. I was so into it. At the end of it, my granddaughter said, "Grandma, I don't like painting like this, but you do. You should keep doing it." And so I thought, you know what? She's right. 64 years old. Who knew I would have liked and enjoyed something like this? I'm going to do it. So I took some classes. I took the Olga Solby class. I watched Louise McKay art, Lisa Marvin art, all of, the biggies, Canella, Shelley Art Blooms. I watched all of those and started learning, and then became really passionate about, I'm going to make stuff before work and after work. I work at home, so it's really easy. I can do something before and after work. And little by little, I've learned how to do this. So now I'm going to tie this to what's happening in retirement. I have decided, like, I have all this business sense. I'm a great salesperson. I know how to start and run a business. I know how to make a successful business. Can I take this love of painting and turn it into a business? So in my world, that's kind of what my approach is going to be. And I'll kind of show you. Let's see if I've got it. Just to show you, here was one of our first projects. Remember I said we did not know what we were doing. Yeah. And here's one, a month or two later, coming along. I don't know if the reflection makes this, you can see it or not, but this is a paint board project. I'll try to get it out of the light. You can't see it well. But since then, what have I done? I have learned from all of this to make like Lazy Susans that are spectacular. I mean, I try to hold it so you can see it. I mean, the colors on here are spectacular. These take a lot of time and effort and a lot of expertise, but I've really poured myself into this in preparation for what am I going to do when I retire. I also make, like tiles, like, coaster tiles. I started making it. My neighbors were like, can I buy those? And I'm like, you really want to? I thought they all looked awful, but people were like, these are amazing. So I started making different ones. Hey, maybe I can make round ones, and, started filling my time with learning, understanding, and so now, and little necklaces and things. And now I even package them up and sell them. I sell them at art shows. I sell them at, but can I take, this kind of new passion about doing something to stay busy and turn it into some income for when I retire? And so for me, that's what I'm planning to do. That's what I'm already working on. I've noticed already this excitement and passion for getting the right materials, learning how to do it, building the brand, all those things. I mean, there is nothing out there that says when you retire, you need to just sit there and watch TV. No, you can learn something, do something, grow something, take all that knowledge you've got from working in the world and turn it into a business. So already my business has started. I've been selling stuff like crazy. I'm enjoying it, and I'm planning for my retirement in a different way. So instead of thinking like, I'm just going to sit around, I'm thinking, I've got my YouTube channel started. I'm going to be doing these art shows with my husband. Really a change in my approach and my thinking. And if you're thinking, well, I can't start a YouTube channel, really you just need a camera in today's world, just a camera to show what you're doing, and you can show it as you're learning. That's what I'm doing. Just a beginner. I'm showing it as I'm learning. So I hope that this video helps you see that you can start something, you can grow something. You don't have to be afraid of retiring and what that's going to be like. I mean, as soon as I started planning for it on what I'm going to do, there's been such a big change now. I'm like, maybe I don't want to retire. Maybe I do like my job. Maybe I want to do it longer. Maybe I want to do both longer. But I think just taking the time to sort out and to start, if you're approaching retirement, start finding what you like to do and start doing it now. You don't have to wait till that day you retire and then start. Start now sorting it out. I think you just got to be courageous. Don't be afraid to start something new. Maybe try a bunch of things and find out what you really like to do and make a plan for it and start it. Be courageous. Go get it. I'll see you later. Oh, and I almost forgot. If learning about paint pouring and what I'm doing with my grandchildren and how I'm selling the items I'm making, like the jewelry and like this cool drink coaster, maybe subscribe to my channel, because I'll be teaching how to do it, and I'll be talking more and more about how to do this as a beginner, what you need to buy, and then also like with retirement, how it's going for me and the steps I'm taking too. See ya.